To celebrate the 25th anniversary of the arrival of Giganotosaurus and Argentinosaurus at Fernbank Museum, Channel 2 Action News spoke to former WSB anchor John Pruitt, who traveled to Argentina for a primetime special about the dinosaurs called Land of the Giants. We asked Pruitt what it was like walking the same land in Patagonia where those dinosaur bones were found.
This is the incredible thing about Patagonia. It is probably the most fertile fossil area I think you could find. There may be others, but certainly in Patagonia, you have bones lying on top of the ground. You have dinosaur footprints in rocks. I mean, it's amazing. You'll think I'm exaggerating, but it really is everywhere around this little town of Plaza Huincul. So it was fascinating, and we went out with Rodolfo Carrera, who is a very renowned paleontologist who was actually put his headquarters in Plaza Huincul because of all the fossils that were being found. The bone of what later became known as the Argentinosaurus, the largest dinosaur at that point known ever to walk the earth, was found by a farmer who just stumbled upon it. Big bone, it was a leg bone. He thought it was petrified wood, but he took it in to the local museum and they immediately knew it was a huge dinosaur bone. Paleontologists were called in to look at it, and sure enough, yes. And from that and a few other bones, not many, they were able to more or less construct in their minds what this creature would have looked like. A huge plant-eating creature, the largest ever to walk the earth, named the Argentinosaurus. And that skeleton, of course, is at Fernbank in the Great Hall, along with the Giganotosaurus, which also was discovered in the same way. Someone finding bones on the ground. In this case, more bones than they found for the Argentinosaurus. There were several bones, a number of bones, and so they had a little easier time of constructing what they thought this creature looked like. Sort of a T-Rex creature. Bigger than a T-Rex, but very much similar in size and shape. And that also is in the Great Hall at Fernbank Museum of Natural History. In fact, the two are fighting. You know, there's the staged fight. Even though it's not by any means certain they both lived at the same period of history. But, you know, it's showbiz.
He also explained how workers in the village of Plaza Huincul made replicas of the dinosaur bones.
I was not in Patagonia when they were actually constructing the bones. However, we had a crew there, and they did detail the process, which involves really creating artificial bones, basically, out of styrofoam. Molding the styrofoam, shaving the styrofoam to mimic the shape of the bone, the particular bone they want to create, and then of course covering it and painting it, and thus you have a bone. It's very light, it's not heavy like a real bone, but it's what is in every bone in the Fernbank Natural History Museum. In fact, in most museums, the bones you see of dinosaur skeletons are artificial bones. And the process was amazing. Just the local people in Plaza Huincul, which was a depressed area, they needed the work and they insisted on performing that work, and they turned out to be great at it. Under supervision, of course, by paleontologists and others who knew what to do, taking the styrofoam and molding it into the correct shape, covering it, filling it with a cast type material, and then packing it up and sending it to Atlanta. So it could be assembled piece by piece.
Although it's been 25 years, Pruitt said several things stand out in his mind about that trip to Patagonia.
Well, a couple of things. It was cold and barren, and Plaza Huincul was very remote and not a lot of creature comforts there, so it was kind of a stark world that we were operating in. But also exciting because of what I'd earlier described as the paleontological significance of the area. Dinosaur bones everywhere being discovered, and two colossal discoveries just in this one little area. So that really was kind of paramount in our thinking the whole time we were there. And Rodolfo Carrera, who is the head paleontologist in Plaza Huincul, was so instructive and so inspirational in terms of how he was handling all of this. This was relatively early in the process, and he had been instrumental in identifying these two dinosaurs and actually helping name them. The Argentinosaurus, the big one, the plant eater, and the Giganotosaurus, the T-Rex type predator meat eater. So watching him operate with the locals in KwaZulu-Natal, going out with us and walking the plains and showing us how he found artifacts and fossils when he went out, all of that was part and parcel of the experience we had. I'll add this. There's a primitive forest. It's probably 100 miles away from KwaZulu-Natal. It's called the Monkey Puzzle Forest. These are trees that existed hundreds of millions of years ago, and they're still growing in Argentina. I mean, they were growing before the Andes were even mountains, to give you an idea. And the Argentinosaurus ate the foliage of these trees. And it was such a thrill to be able to actually go to the Monkey Puzzle Forest, to walk through it, to experience what it must have been like there 100 million years ago. So there were a lot of high points, and really it was quite an experience.
Pruitt said the bones were shipped from Argentina to Atlanta so workers could assemble the dinosaurs at Fernbank, and WSB-TV played a role in that.
Actually, part of the shipment came in here to WSB because we were, of course, working in partnership with Fernbank, and a lot of the storage was out in the parking garage, actually here. And then, of course, when time came to construct, moved to Fernbank. Many, many crates, a lot of scaffolding, a lot of experts on the scene helping to assemble these two gigantic skeletal figures. Yeah, it was an amazing process, and it went so smoothly. I'm sure that there were bumps in the road that maybe I didn't realize were underway, but boy, to see the final product and to realize it's been there for, what, 25 years now, and it's still as awe-inspiring as it was on day one, and to know that it's going to be there for a long, long time. I mean, a huge endeavor, a very expensive endeavor, a major commitment by Fernbank, and of course those who help finance this major endeavor, and a really exciting thing for us to cover at WSB. And the special we did back in 2002, Land of the Giants, fully detailed that, and it was one of the biggest thrills I've had to be able to work on that. And a report from Argentina. And I'll just add, the crew was unbelievable. We had C.B. Hackworth as our producer. Sally Sears also played a producing role. Two of the best cinematographers in the business, our own Leona Nascimento, and Dave Dawson, who is a freelancer, has his own company, but does a lot of work with Channel 2. We were there, and we knew we had a job to do, and we enjoyed doing it, and I was working with the best people available for that project. So my thanks to them and to all of those at Channel 2, WSB, who supported this, who sent us to Argentina. I mean, this was not a cheap expedition. This cost some bucks. But it's evidence of the commitment this station has to this community.
Channel 2 asked Pruitt what it was like seeing the dinosaurs fully assembled at Fernbank Museum for the very first time.
I still can't believe it. I mean, you know, I was there in Argentina, saw some of the original bones, and to imagine that from a farmer stumbling across a bone, thinking it was a piece of petrified wood, carrying it back, having a paleontologist take a look at it and say, well, maybe there's something here. To go from that in remote Patagonia, Argentina, to what we see in Fernbank, and all that took place between that event and the finality of the creation we see at Fernbank, that's a million-mile journey, which of course didn't take a million miles. It took a lot of effort and work and expense and money, but it's just amazing from beginning to end. And to have been there at that initial stage when it was still, you know, bones and a paleontologist telling us what it could be, to see the final product, priceless.
Pruitt said he has fond memories of taking his own children and even grandchildren to see the dinosaurs at Fernbank.
You know, my kids, who are now adults, of course, my grandkids love to go to Fernbank, and they always did. And of course, the first thing they always wanted to do was to go into the Great Hall to look at those dinosaur exhibits. I mean, and I think that the dinosaur motif has been a major aspect of Fernbank from beginning to end. They know it attracts crowds, it attracts interest, and I think the kids are the ones who are the most interested. There's something about kids and dinosaurs. They're fascinated by it. I don't know whether it's Barney or what, but I mean, there's something there. And I can say that as far as my grandchildren are concerned, they loved it. But, you know, to see the skeletons is awe-inspiring, and then from that they go to the other exhibits, the hands-on things you can do at Fernbank. So every trip to Fernbank was always a great experience, whether I had children with me or not. But it's more fun when you got kids with you.
After spending weeks gathering video and interviews for Land of the Giants, Pruitt described what it was like watching that primetime special.
Well, you know, I watched it recently, pulled it up on the web, and I was impressed. I was very proud to be a part of that, to be the anchor of that project. I felt that no stone was left unturned, that we covered every aspect of this from beginning to end. We interviewed the right people, not only Rudolfo Correa, the paleontologist, but also those who are very much in on the construction of the bone models, the scientific aspect of the whole process, the animation that was produced about what these creatures may have looked like, the concerns about the Great Hall and the assembly of it in the Great Hall. And of course, that turned out to be, I'm sure, a major project, but one that went off, as far as I can tell, flawlessly. So all of that, from beginning to end, it's a very interesting presentation, including the monkey puzzle forest, which I mentioned earlier. So yeah, it's a good beginning to end look at how this wonderful aspect of Fernbank Natural Museum history. It's a wonderful aspect, beginning to end, of how this happened at the Fernbank Museum of Natural History.
Channel 2 asked Pruitt what he thought would surprise people the most about these dinosaurs.
You know, I think a number of people think those are really bones, that this is really a skeleton of the Argentinosaurus and the Giganotosaurus, and of course it's not. The bones are replicated, created, but as close to reality as science can make them. So they're accurate. As far as we know. There's no way to prove it, but we know that science has given us every means to create what you see there. So yeah, I mean, that's probably one thing that many people don't know, and I hope they will now, that the bones are not real. Doesn't really matter, the effect of it is the same. And I doubt that many people know how this all came to pass, how the beginning of it was in a remote plateau in Argentinian Patagonia, where a farmer stumbled over a big bone, and it turned out to be, eventually, the Argentinosaurus, the skeleton that resides in the Great Hall at the Fernbank Museum of Natural History. Same with the Giganotosaurus. So I doubt that people really know that story. I'm sure they don't. They should, because it's a spectacular story, a major success story.